this is now the Tower Process Part 30, and there are 2 sections today. I'm going to try and keep it short, but I've got notes over here and I need to refer to, I think. So the first bit is about you, and then the second bit is the past, present and future spread. And a while ago, I came across the idea, or somebody wrote, that Leonardo da Vinci used a to-do list. So Leonardo's list didn't consist of things like buy groceries or tidy up the living room. His to-do list had things like figure out how birds are able to fly, right? Or design a plan to fortify a city. So Leonardo's to-do list was big and demanding and interesting. And what's your to-do list like? So I'm going to encourage you to be like Leonardo. And when you think about what you want to do and how you're going to do it, and what goals you have, it's easy to be small and think, I can't do it, and tell yourself why you can't, and start off on the back foot. But I'm going to suggest, and I'm going to try and give you a method as well. But why don't we automatically imagine the best? Because I've got these notes and I'm already out of order, but we get back what we give out, and that's kind of true, and it's always true. So if we're giving out, I can't do it, or it's not going to work, then that's what we get back. And so we sort of don't go anywhere or get much done or get much success or get the happiness or the contentment or the results that we want. But it's not because of the world. It's really because of us, or what's our starting point. So what's your starting point? Because if our to-do list is things like clean the living room, that's important. I'm not saying don't clean the living room, but it's a bit like, what else do you have? What big projects, what high goals do you have? And it's important to write it all down, I think. I don't do journaling, but I think it's a good idea. I could sort of make lists here and there, but write it all down. So if your typical to-do list is asking yourself things like, why am I losing, or why is this relationship so bad, or why can't I get what I want, you're going to get answers back of why you can't, which is going to reinforce the fact that you can't, or you're going to get people coming into your life who explain to you why you can't. And it's no good. It doesn't go anywhere. I mean, it may be what you believe is normal, or it's all you can expect, and you get your reward in heaven, which is fair enough. Except we want a reward now, don't we? And we can have it because we get back what we give out. So if we focus on what we're asking for, and pay attention to what comes into our life, or what comes into our thought, or what we notice that we maybe hadn't noticed before, we're going to get answers, or we're going to get information about how to achieve what it is that we want to achieve. I'm trying to remember what's over there, and I don't want to look at it because I'm way off track or off script at the moment. So think about what's on your to-do list, or what's on your list of what it is that you want, and then be clear about it. Make sure that you actually want it. And so somebody might write down, I want $1 million. I want to win $1 million, for instance. And so you decide you want to win $1 million, and then the next day you hear about, or in a news broadcast or a newspaper, you read about somebody who won $5 million in a lottery, and 6 months later they were broke again. Right? So you remember, hey, I want to win $1 million. but then you read about somebody who won $1 million and failed, it doesn't mean you're doomed. The reason you saw that article or heard that piece of information is not for you to change your mind and decide that it's never going to happen. It's for you to rethink or reword what it is you're asking for. So instead of I want to win $1 million, maybe you ask instead, I want to be able to handle winning $1 million. And then you pay attention to what, maybe you read an article about something or about money management, or you read about investing in real estate. I don't know what it would be, but pay attention to what comes to you, or what you overhear in conversation, or what news item you happen to notice, because you can be sitting in front of a TV watching the news and most of it you don't pay any attention to. But maybe your attention is captured by something about somebody somewhere who did something, and that relates to you and what you've asked for and to the items on your list. So I'm thinking, be like Leonardo. And so instead of wondering, why is reading cards so difficult, or why can't I make sense of cards, begin to tell yourself, learn to read cards, and then pay attention to what comes to you. I was remembering, okay, so I don't know how this fits in at this point, but a few days ago I was talking to somebody, and I was going to, I had to scan a few pages and as JPEGs and email them to the person. And I hate the scanner. And I found myself thinking and beginning to talk about how much I hate the scanner, because you're supposed to be able to scan multiple documents and they go into the same folder and then you can open it, but it just doesn't work like that, and you've got to name things. So, and then I realized, hold on a minute, I've got a problem with the scanner. I don't like it, I hate it, but what am I going to do? I can't control the scanner or change the software, but I can control my reaction. So instead of me being really annoyed at the scanner and wasting the listener's time with me complaining about a scanner, what I do is I figure out how to work it. I do it once, then I know how to do it. So I take 10 minutes or a quarter of an hour, and instead of being annoyed at the world and annoyed at printers and annoyed at scanners and annoyed at technology, I think, okay, it's a scanner. I scan the document, I know how to do that. Now I just need to figure out how to name it and where to put it. Then it's done. And it means that the next time I have to think about using the scanner, I don't get all worked up and hostile and angry about the scanner. So if you figure out a problem or figure out an answer, then it means probably the problem's never going to happen again, because you've already figured out what to do. So you don't need to have the experience of the thing going wrong and you having to fix it. Or it can be that you face the problem, you face the fear, so to speak, and you figure out what you're going to do if it happens again. Then you can forget about it because you know what you're going to do next time, if there is a next time. And so let's say the next time happens and you figure out and you try your method and it almost works. You know you're close to a solution. So you don't mind the fact that things go wrong, because it's giving you a chance to test your solution and to test the idea you come up with. So I can't remember where I am at this point. Let me just scroll down the page here. Get back, give out, choose our reactions. So what's on your to-do list? Is it small and fearful, or big and confident? Maybe your item number one is, how can I make tomorrow better? And you know what you mean by better, and it's personal. You can also think, as I meant to say this earlier on, let's say you decide you want to win $1 million on a lottery, and then you find out the next day that somebody won $1 million and lost it. It doesn't mean you're doomed. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't ask for $1 million lottery win. because we can take the idea that you wouldn't have asked for it, you wouldn't have thought of it in the first place if you weren't supposed to try it and see where it leads. Because sometimes, let's say you want a new relationship and you go out with somebody new and it doesn't work. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have asked for the new relationship. It just means you're one step closer to having a new, fulfilling, satisfying relationship. Because the person that it fails with, let's say you go for a promotion and you don't get the promotion. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have wanted the promotion, but maybe the interviewer is going to say, I can't take you, but go and talk to this person because I know they're looking for somebody and you might fit the bill. So if you hadn't asked for the promotion and gone through the experience and not got that job, you wouldn't be one step closer to getting what you actually do want. Because you wouldn't have asked for a promotion if you didn't want it. The idea wouldn't have occurred to you. Because that's the thing as well. What comes to you doesn't just mean who do you meet. It also means what ideas do you have, what thoughts do you have about you and your life and what you're going to do with it or what you're not going to do with it, and who you want to spend time with and who you don't want to spend time with and how you want to spend your time. And whatever you want is right. I'm not saying that we should be 100% productive and always busy and always producing all the time, because sometimes you don't want that. You want to hang around and do nothing. Okay, I think. Okay, the other thing is, so you ask for stuff, you write it down, you pay attention to what comes, and later you look again at your list and make changes if need be, or make adjustments if need be. And this is Einstein. Not a big fan of Einstein, not that it really matters, but Einstein, he was not the first to say this, because all sorts of people had said it for centuries. But he said, you can't solve a problem from the same state of consciousness that recognizes the problem or that caused the problem. And that's why what you do is you write down what you want and then you leave it for a couple of days. And then you come back to it because you're in a different frame of mind or a different state of consciousness when you look at what you're asking for and when you're trying to figure out how you're going to get it. So I have to move on quickly to this past, present and future spread. Somebody, Evelyn, said she wanted to know, could we adapt the past, present and future tense to a question for somebody who wanted to know how to leave behind a job in accountancy and the financial world and move successfully into something different that doesn't involve money and finances. So she did a past, present and future, and the first card for the past was the Two of Swords. I'm holding it up, okay? So the past can be yesterday, or it can be over the last few months, right? So the person has been thinking about, they've got two swords, and each sword can represent one possibility. So it's a sword, so they're cutting. So they're thinking about cutting out financial responsibility in a financial job, right? But what do they do instead? What do they do next? How do they go about making a successful transition from what they're already good at, I imagine, to something that they want to do that they maybe haven't done before, right? So this is not bad for the past. You were in a position where you weren't sure what to do. The present position is the Eight of Batons upside down, right? Eight of Batons, 8 arrows, so to speak, flying through the air, but they're still in the air. So the card is upside down. So the present position is the person's still up in the air. The ideas are up in the air because it's as if they know they want something different, but they don't know what they want that is different. So they're still up in the air about it. And the fact that the Eight of Batons is upside down, these arrows are flying in together in harmony in a pattern. When it's upside down, it can mean that the arrows will begin to separate. Right, so it can be that you say to the person, you need to focus because you're in danger with the Eight of Batons upside down of having of becoming distracted and going this direction as well as trying to go in the opposite direction at the same time. And it's not going to work. So you need to be focused on your goal, because the arrows are going to reach their goal, right? But the 8 of Battles is upside down. There was something else I was going to say about this and I can't remember. But the thing is, with the 8 of Battles upside down, maybe you're going to miss your goal, and that's why the 8 is upside down, right? You're aiming at a target, but you miss the target. Maybe because you lose your concentration, or maybe the wind is going to come along and blow the arrows off course. So outer circumstances can affect the direction that you're going in. So maybe you need to have a to-do list, right, and figure out what Leonardo would do and be like Leonardo and figure out a big plan. Because the third card was the Hierophant reversed, right? The Hierophant's got this expert person, somebody who's knowledgeable and knows lots of stuff, and you get 2 people down below who are learning or trying to learn. But the Hierophant was upside down. So what can this person do? The fact that it's a Hierophant reversed, they don't have enough education. So they're involved with finances and they want to do something else successfully that's different from finances. They're going to find that they need qualifications, and they either don't have them at the moment, or they haven't decided what qualifications they want to go for. Or if they do go for new qualifications, they're going to discover that it's an awful lot more work than they think it is. Because maybe if you've got a degree in finance or something like that, or you've got an accountancy qualification, you can find that you're really good at accounting, but let's say you want to become a programmer or design websites. Maybe you don't have the mind or the imagination for designing a website, because maybe accountancy is kind of dry and factual, and you've got established rules and you follow the rules. So maybe this person is good at following the rules, but they're not going to be as good if they have to depend on themselves and their own imagination. But just the fact that it's I can't remember her name, who asked the question, Evelyn, wanted to know about what the Hierophant might mean. And I suppose it has to do with education and qualifications and skill. And because it's upside down, the person doesn't have it, or will struggle to gain it, or hasn't even decided what the new skill ought to be or is going to be. Okay, I'm going to stop now rather than just go on and on and on. So I'll see you in a few days. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Okay, bye-bye.